If you're a fan of hard hits and big damage and don't mind waiting around for your Arisen to wind up their arms before curb stomping their enemies into the dirt, then our best warrior build in Dragon's Dogma 2 is exactly what you need, as this vocation more than makes up for its slower approach with pure, unadulterated muscle. From some of the chunkiest swords you'll find in the game to ultra powerful weapon skills, there is little that won't bow to your blade if you put it to good use, and while it can feel a little outclassed by other vocations, it's incredibly strong and has the potential for super high damage, but its speed, or lack thereof, is quite the weakness. Thankfully, the right build and a knack for playing as a burly behemoth can help you avoid this weakness completely. So if you like the idea of running headlong into battle with nothing but the biggest weapon you could possibly find and a complete lack of self-preservation instinct, let's get into the best build for the warrior in Dragon's Dogma 2. On screen, you'll see a summary of exactly everything you need, like always, to make this build as beefy as we managed to get it, so feel free to pause the video here as you can get an idea of everything you'll need, and I'll go over a few specifics. Raising Sweep is a perfect catch-all for when you're surrounded by lots of smaller enemies, as it lets out one big circular swipe to catch them all and often sends them tumbling away. This fits the frontline nature of the vocation perfectly and always gives you a way to get out of trouble should you find yourself exposed after a slightly hasty charge into danger. Diluvian Strike is one of my favourite abilities for the warrior though. It feels so satisfying to pull off on smaller enemies, not only dealing a ton of damage, but it looks super cool as well. And it's especially effective when stabbing weak points on top of foes, so it's plenty versatile against small and bigger beasts alike. Probably one of the more essential parts of this build though is Windstorm Slash, since it removes pretty much the only weakness of the warrior, its speed, and turns you into an absolutely relentless machine. The core skill Chain of Blows is somewhat similar to this, and is still absolutely worth equipping, particularly alongside it, and Windstorm Slash just takes things to a whole new level and will keep you moving a little quicker than most other warriors without it. There are a wide range of amazing weapon skills that the warrior can access, giving you a great selection that largely you can't go wrong with. Outside of the ones I've personally suggested, options like In Spirit, Savage Lash, and Tidal Fury are really great and can easily be swapped out. I also loved using Goring Lunge early on in the vocation's progression because it gives you an easy way to take out enemies without much of a fight. You've just got to make sure you aim correctly. The star of the show though is the ultimate skill, Arc of Might, which is understandably overwhelmingly powerful. It expends your entire stamina meter, which might sound bad, but the result is a powerful strike dealing damage that not many other weapon skills across any vocation in Dragon's Dogma 2 can easily match. The trick is to make sure that you're striking flesh and not air. There's nothing worse than whiffing and having to stand still while your enemy lines up a counterattack. All of the vocation's core skills are more than worth picking up as well, with Breakneck Strike and Repulse being my personal favourites. Breakneck Strike adds damage to your charged hits if you time it correctly, which you definitely should try, and Repulse allows you to cancel enemy attacks if you hit at the same time, which is very effective against a lot of the strongest bosses in the game. In terms of augments, you're largely going to want to stick with ones that enhance your strength, defense, and impact your stamina. The warrior is a frontline heavy vocation, obviously, and stamina becomes probably its most important resource. Running out of juice sucks on every class, don't get me wrong, but with so many ways to spend it built in, and so many ways to waste it if you choose the wrong option or just miss your shot, getting as much of it as possible should be a priority. Which extends to the ideal rings for this build too, as the Ring of Brawn is immensely strong if you can manage your carry weight correctly. It specifically enhances your strength proportionally to how low your carry weight is, so make sure to use your pawns as storage, and you will dole out huge amounts of damage. Speaking of damage, let's talk about the best weapons the warrior can wield. Dragon's Bite is outright the best weapon for the warrior, offering over 700 damage without enhancements. But since this is only obtained through the Dragon Forged in exchange for Worm's Life crystals, it can obviously be quite tricky to get hold of, especially outside of the endgame. Now alternatively, you could pick up Dragon's Flight from one of the endgame weapon merchants. I was able to find this from any of the merchants in New Game Plus, but in your initial playthrough, you'll need to be as late in the game as you can get before you can buy it, so it's not exactly ideal if you're in the mid-game or early game. As such, if neither of those are available to you, we'd recommend getting the Black Matter Hammer. Not only does it look insanely cool, but you can get it fairly early on. All you need to do is head to the ancient battleground in Western Vermund and fight the armoured Cyclops just before you enter the World's End cave to head to the Sphinx. There should be a chest right behind this one-eyed foe, and inside you'll find the Black Matter Hammer. With 220 strength and 338 knockdown power straight out of the box, it's well worth a pickup if you're committing to the warrior path. So there you go, the best warrior build we could come up with in Dragon's Dogma 2. Let us know what you make of the build down in the comments and tell us your favourite builds as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more Dragon's Dogma 2 guides like this, and if you're not a fan of the warrior, there are plenty of other builds to try in Dragon's Dogma 2, like this thief build we put together, so check that out right here.